Professor Intro Part 2, Take 1.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jeff Long. This is my trusty teaching assistant, Cookie Monster.
Hello students.
I like to talk like him when I'm holding him.
Welcome back to Meet the Teacher. I'm Reichel Smith, your host, and today with me is Jeff Long, an academic program specialist with the Department of Computer Science at the U of S. Jeff, thanks for being here.
Thanks very much for having me, Reichel.
Let's start with your professional background. What would you say has been your area or areas of study?
So I have the full complement of usual academic degrees. I got a Bachelor of Science here at the University of Saskatchewan. I also did a Master's of Science, also here. In academia, it's considered a good thing to have a little bit of breadth. You don't want to do all your degrees at the same place, or at least that's the common wisdom. I went to the University of Alberta to do my last degree, my PhD. I studied artificial intelligence. Basically, it was the closest thing I could do to finding a way to spend most of my time thinking about games and playing games, and yet still do something professional. So I build robots that play games.
That is awesome.
I think so.
So are those areas that you teach here, these areas that you've studied in the past, or have you expanded beyond that?
I've taught AI here a little bit, once or twice at this university. Mostly I teach larger classes to novices to get them started and try and get them excited about computer science, teach them the absolute basics. And that's what I spend most of my time doing right now.
How long have you been teaching?
5 years now, I think I've been in this current position.
Okay, so just 5 years and just here at the U of S.
That's right.
Right on. Okay, now moving into a bit more personal stuff, going back to, let's say, your undergraduate degree, what kind of student would you say that you were?
I don't know. How should we put this? I was a nerd.
Well, it's like,
Can we say that?
did you procrastinate? Were you really on top of your stuff? Did you spend a lot of time studying, not a lot of time?
The answer is yes to all, I think.
Okay,
Which might
so
seem self-contradictory.
you were on top of it, but also procrastinated.
Absolutely.
Okay. I feel like a lot of students here fit into that category.
I agree.
So did you join any clubs when you were in university?
I did. I was pretty heavily involved in the debate club for several years. As a kid, I was a nerd, right? So traditional sports, gym class was my least favorite subject, right? There's the reason I'm a PhD, spending as much time at school as I can. When I was doing university though, I did get involved in martial arts relatively heavily. So I did Kendo. It's Japanese sword fencing. You get a big stick, you put on armor, smash the other guy over the head. I did that for many years.
Do you remember kind of how long you spent doing that? How many
I
years?
did Kendo for about 10 years.
10 years, so you must have gotten pretty damn good at it.
I hold a second-degree black belt, yeah.
Wow. Well, congratulations. Like I
not
have
as
no
exciting
idea.
as it sounds.
I have no idea how prestigious that is, but it definitely sounds impressive. When did you decide that you wanted to teach? That's something you wanted to do?
As a conscious decision, I don't know if I did. It just kind of fell into it. I finished my degree. I came back here. Initially, I had a research post for a couple of years in one of our research labs with a professor that I'd known. And then this position opened up. And I said, hey, sounds good. I need something to do next. And so there I was.
And here you are. Have you considered other career paths in the past? Anything else that you wanted to do, maybe when you were younger?
When I was a student, I worked at the IBM lab in Toronto doing database stuff. It was good. I don't regret doing it. It did make me realize I like teaching better than working, and so I like school better than working, so that's where I stayed. When I was even younger, of course, what does every nerd dream of? I wanted to make video games, right? I still do that a little bit in my spare time, but it's not a career.
Coming back to modern day, how would you describe your teaching technique?
Can we say I get a lot of help from my friends, and by friends I mean small furry creatures that end up flying through the classroom.
Now, how many of those do you have?
Well, what I have a different theme for every class.
Okay.
For the most introductory class, we need to start with the basics, the most important things you learn, and most people learn that from Sesame Street for the first time. So Cookie Monster comes to class and helps me out. He flies around the class. Whoever catches him has to talk to me for a bit, answer some questions. It's a way to try and get students engaged in a way that feels friendly and that I'm not targeting or picking on anybody. There's a line flying through the air. Whoever he lands on, okay, now you got to talk. It was fair, right? Right, that's what we think.
Well, something you're obviously doing right, because it looks like you've won the USSU, or the University Students Union Teaching Excellence Award for the 2017-2018 school year. So congratulations on that.
Well, thank you for that, Reichel, very much. I made it very clear at the time I won that award that it's joint. Pikachu and Cookie Monster both came with me and accepted the award along with me because I couldn't do it without them.
What is your favorite class to teach?
Oh, AI.
Such as your area and such as your passion.
And such is my passion. Yeah, that's right.
Okay, and now before we get into the Rate My Prof review, one last question, which take as much time as you need. This is a pretty heavy one. Are there problems with the current model of university education that you would like to see addressed?
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, it's a big one.
I've told you earlier I had a bit of a martial arts background, right? And that influences my thinking about what's the right way to do assessment and how it complements learning. And I think we need to really think about the kind of things that you do in martial arts, right? You get people to show you their skills, right? You have one-on-one live demonstrations where the instructor asks you to run through your drills and demonstrate the skills in front of you as sort of a formal training period, formal examination period that's separate from the learning, right? And you can pretend that that's what a final examination is, but there's a pretty big difference between that and actually watching the students in practice doing their work, in a one-on-one fashion.
And with that, I believe we're ready to get into the next section. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to go through 3 questions, or 3 comments, 3 positive, 3 negative ones following that. And what I would like you to do is guess which ones apply to you and which ones do not.
I'm ready. I should tell you before we start, I have at times glanced at my Rate My Prof, so I've totally cheated.
Okay, well, I'll consider looking at the resources available to you as studying instead of cheating. So
okay,
I won't hold
great.
it against
Sounds
you.
good.
All right, so starting off, we're going to do some positive ones. I asked him the same question worded differently, and he gave me over 50 different answers before I figured it out on my own. Best hour spent with a professor to date.
I don't remember that one. Don't think that one comes from me. I don't think so. But if I used a different voice for every answer, then one in me, one in Cookie Monster's voice. Oh yeah, you need to eat the cookie. Maybe that would have been me, but I don't think so. I'm gonna say no.
I think you are right. This one is fake. This one is from Harvard University, and it is for a professor named Stack Overflow, which you may know is an online website dedicated to helping, or more or less giving students the answers for programming questions.
Okay, that's pretty good.
They have a lot of positive reviews, this Professor Stack Overflow. So moving on to the next one. Loved him. He is great, funny, and passionate prof. I actually found him to be incredibly intelligent, a lot smarter than other profs I know. He doesn't post the answers to the exercises done in class, which is why I would recommend going to his lectures. He generates passion in his students and is always wanting to help them succeed. True or false?
Okay, so I know that's an older one because I remember it. And you're totally being unfair asking me this. Because it's a comment that's like, he's more intelligent than other profs. So you're forced to ask, if I say yes, you're saying, well, look at Jeff, he's bragging and almost putting down his colleagues, which I don't mean to do. But yes, this one's real. I remember it.
It wasn't you who wrote it. Well, it wasn't you who wrote it, right?
No, it wasn't me who wrote it.
So long as it wasn't, then no. But yeah, you are correct. This is a comment on your page there. Next one. Excellent prof. His lectures are engaging and entertaining. He presents information in clever ways that really involves and engages the class. I had fun and learned a lot. The assignments were interesting and appropriately challenging, and the exams were fair. Definitely recommend taking his class. The textbook was free too.
Okay, there we go. Definitely me then. We give free textbooks. I think that's us.
That's probably one of the best things that I remember about the class, is that it's not only was the textbook helpful, but it cost about $200 to $300 less than all the other textbooks that he had by that year. So definitely appreciate that. Thank you very much from myself personally. All right, you ready for the negative comments now?
All right, let's hit it. Hit it.
His introductory classes are extremely challenging. You will have to stay up late every night working on his ridiculously hard assignments. You won't have time to focus on any other classes. The people who rated his class as easy are probably geniuses or being sarcastic. Real or fake?
No, that's real. Absolutely real. Yeah, no, and that's part of the nature of computer science, right? We try our best to make assignments that people will get, but the variance in terms of how long people will take just varies so much from student to student. So it's absolutely real. It's absolutely a legitimate comment. I'm sorry, Mr. Anonymous comment person, but I stand by the assignments.
Okay, on to the next one. He is an okay lecturer, but his assignments are way too hard for a beginner's class, and he doesn't really offer help. He's not the worst professor ever, but I'd avoid him.
I'm pretty sure I remember that language too. I told you the studying business, it's too much cheating. I think that one's real. I remember that. I remember being a little bit weird because it's like, it doesn't offer help. It's like we're in the labs like every week at the same times, every day. But that one's real. It's real.
And I think that most people agree with you, because in terms of, because students can rate the comments as well for useful and not useful. This one had 6 people saying useful and 45 people saying it wasn't useful. And that is the most participation I think I've seen on that website so far. So I think everyone agrees with,
awesome.
with you.
Good.
All right, last one. How can you possibly work with him when it comes off so unapproachable and arrogant? He jumped right into theory. He does not explain how the theory applies to anything. He does not offer assistance. His TA, or whoever the young person is in his course, seemed far more fit at teaching than himself. This course feels like a job with zero inspiration.
I mean, in a sense, this is almost unfair, right? You gave me 2 real ones. Surely the last one has to be fake, right? It's basic multiple choice logic, kids, right? On the other hand, if the young person who's more suited to teach the class than me is Cookie Monster, or maybe Pikachu, I could buy that. I could believe that. But I'm pretty sure this one's fake.
This one is fake. The rating system is out of 5. Where do you think you stand for your overall rating?
It might have moved a little bit since the last time I looked. I'm pretty sure it's in the mid to low 4 point somethings. 4.3, 4.4, maybe something like that.
That is almost exactly it. 4.2 is where you're at as of this morning. You have a rating of 69% for would take again. Your level of difficulty is 3.2 out of 5. And your top 3 tags are respected, lots of homework, and hilarious.
That all sounds about right and about what I would aim for.
Do you think that these are more or less accurate representations of your teaching style here? Or your performance, I suppose?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
All right, so one last question before I let you go. Could you give 1 to 3 tips to students to help improve their university experience and succeed both inside and outside of your class?
Well, you know, number one, life advice is the most important one, I think. And it'll sound cliche, but my number one advice is going to have to be do what you love. Do what you love, because if you do, that'll make it easier to do everything else. All the things that you need to do. Go to class, do the homework. It's easier if you like it. If you don't, it's a chore, and if it's a chore, you won't do it. You won't put the same work into it, and it's just a matter of hard. This isn't wishy-washy pie in the sky stuff. This is hard, pragmatic advice. If you don't love it, you won't do as good a job. So find something you love, and just do it.
All right. And with that, thank you very much, Jeff, for sitting down with me and telling me a little bit about yourself and the rest of anyone who's watching here. And thank you to everyone who's watching. If there is a professor that you'd like to see on Meet the Teacher, please go ahead and contact us at USaskSheaf on Twitter. Until next time, get off the internet and do your assignments.